I was never the kind of person who believed in the supernatural. I always thought of ghost stories as exaggerations or the result of tired minds. But something happened when I was 18 that I've never been able to explain, and it started with a woman in a blue dress. This was a few years ago on a summer road trip with two of my friends through the Midwest. We were driving from Illinois to Colorado, taking our time stopping for cheap motels to crash along the way. On the third night, somewhere along the Kansas-Nebraska border, we found a discount hotel just off the highway. It was run down but cheap, and we were too tired to care. I remember the front desk clerk, thin, bored-looking, probably in his late 40s. When we asked for a room, he paused and said, "Last one's on the third floor. Just one bed. That okay with you?" We didn't mind. We were all broke, college students, and had shared a bed before after parties. The room looked typical. Beige walls, floral curtains, outdated furniture. But one detail stuck out: the painting above the bed. It was a large canvas of a woman in a flowing blue Victorian-style dress, standing at the edge of some foggy woods. She wasn't looking at the viewer, her back was turned, but her face was just starting to turn, like she was in mid-motion. It was strange, too detailed, too recent. The style didn't match the rest of the room. Still, again, we were exhausted. I took the floor that night when my friend shared the bed. Maybe it was because I was eye level with the bed frame, but something felt off the entire night. I couldn't fall asleep, even with my hoodie pulled over my face and earbuds in. Around 2 a.m., I took out one earbud and sat up a little just to breathe. And that's when I saw her. Not the painting, the woman. She was standing just outside the room's window. On the third floor, her skin was pale, her face long, hollow. Her blue dress moved slightly, even though there was no breeze. She wasn't doing anything, just staring. Straight at the bed, straight at my friends. I should have screamed, I should have said something. But it was like my throat closed up. My body didn't know whether to run or hide it. Just froze. She didn't blink, didn't move. Just stood there with her hand lightly resting on the window, watching as if she had been looking for something and finally found it, and then she was gone. It wasn't like she walked away. It was like someone hit a light switch and she just wasn't there. The next morning, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to scare them. I thought maybe it was sleep paralysis or really vivid dream. We packed up and left, but then we walked past the landscaping at the back of the hotel. There, half covered in tall brush, was something unexpected. An old stone path, mossy and cracked, leading into a patch of trees. Behind those trees, part of a collapsed house could be seen. Nothing but foundation, a few half-standing walls and broken wood. Like a fire had eaten through the center years ago. And in the middle of that ruin, barely standing, was a metal post. A burned-up painting frame still nailed to it. The frame was empty, or so we thought. One of my friends walked over to get a closer look and shouted for us. There in the ashes below, half buried under dirt, a torn piece of canvas, blue fabric, a smear of white paint in the vague shape of a woman's face. It wasn't an exact match to the one over our bed, but it wasn't different either. We got back in the car and neither of us said a word for 20 miles. A few weeks later, we shared the story at a get-together, and someone half-jokingly told us to look up ghosts tied to paintings or manifestations through art. We laughed it off mostly. But late that night, curiosity got the best of me. I searched local records of the town we had stayed in. Back in 1972, the land behind that hotel, where we'd seen the ruins, used to be a private boarding house. A fire had destroyed the original structure. One woman died, an artist, originally from Louisiana, who'd been living there in isolation for years, mostly painting portraits she never sold. They said the fire started in her studio. They also said her body was never recovered intact, only personal effects: blue dresses, letters, sketches. One article mentioned she was working on her final piece, a self-portrait turned slightly away from the viewer. I tried contacting the hotel later, just curious if they'd ever heard anything similar. No one picked up. The number didn't seem to work. When I searched the name a month later, the hotel had been shut down for renovations. Whether I saw a ghost, a memory, or something that crossed in from another side, I don't know. But I still remember the way she looked, not angry, not even sad, just expectant, like she was still waiting.